Chosen one, stop now and pay attention. What I'm about to reveal will completely change your life from this moment on. You're not watching this video by chance. God brought you here because something extraordinary is about to happen in your life. The pain of abandonment you felt wasn't the end, but the beginning of something powerful. Feel that chill down your spine? It's the divine sign confirming this message is for you. Will you continue carrying this burden or finally embrace your divine purpose? The moment of transformation is now. Pause this video, like it, subscribe to the channel, and write purpose in the comments. Chosen one, I need you to listen to me with complete attention, because what you're about to hear will change your destiny forever. When everyone turned their backs on you, when those you trusted simply disappeared, there was someone who remained by your side without you noticing. In the moment you felt most alone, when the silence of abandonment echoed in your heart, God was there, observing every tear, counting every sigh, preparing every step of your future. The abandonment you experienced wasn't coincidental. Those who left your life didn't have the capacity to accompany the enormous purpose God prepared for you. They couldn't bear the weight of your glory, your ascension, the transformation that's happening right now in your life. That's why God allowed them to distance themselves, not to hurt you, but to create space for something much greater. When they closed the door, God opened a portal of blessings. When they left you in the dark, God lit a light that will never go out. When their silence suffocated you, God began speaking directly to your spirit. This is the truth you need to embrace now. The abandonment you felt was the beginning of your liberation. It was the exact moment when God began working more intensely in your life. It was when the Creator of the universe said, "Now it's between you and me. Now I'll show you what you were really born for." Understand, chosen one, that God needed to temporarily isolate you to speak directly to your heart. Your solitude was a divine laboratory where your inner strength was being molded day after day, tear after tear. Each moment of pain was a brick in the construction of your purpose. Remember those nights when abandonment seemed to drain all your strength? God was there, sustaining you when your own legs could no longer hold you. Remember the days you woke up without the will to continue? It was God breathing for you, keeping the flame of your life lit. The abandonment you suffered couldn't destroy you because God never allowed it. While the world turned its back, the Creator of all things drew ever closer. While doors closed, God was already building a completely new path for you. This is the moment to recognize that your story of abandonment isn't a story of defeat, but of preparation. You weren't rejected, you were selected for something extraordinary. Your pain wasn't punishment, it was refinement. Your isolation wasn't a penalty, it was protection. Chosen one, you were never truly alone. In the darkest hours, when the silence was deafening, there was a divine presence beside you. When you cried in hiding, thinking no one saw your pain, God not only saw but counted each tear and transformed each one into seeds of blessing that are now beginning to sprout in your life. The truth is that the abandonment you experienced was the catalyst for your transformation. It was necessary for everyone to leave so you could finally hear God's voice clearly. This emptiness was necessary so you could be filled with something much greater than any human relationship could offer. At this exact moment, as you hear these words, a revolution is happening in your spirit. The scars of abandonment are transforming into medals of honor. The emptiness is being filled with divine purpose. Rejection is being transformed into direction. And this changes absolutely everything. Chosen one, what seemed to be the end of your story was just the first chapter of something extraordinary. That moment when you felt everything was falling apart, when abandonment seemed to have sealed your fate, was exactly when God began writing the most powerful pages of your life. The abandonment you experienced wasn't a final sentence. It was a starting point. It wasn't a conclusion. It was an introduction. It wasn't a failure. It was the necessary foundation for your glorious future. And a moment comes in life when you'll look back and, surprisingly, be grateful for everything that once seemed to destroy you. Imagine a garden being prepared. Before flowers can appear in all their beauty, the soil needs to be torn, turned over, exposed. It looks like destruction, but it's essential preparation. That's how abandonment was in your life, a painful but necessary process for something much more beautiful to flourish. At this exact moment, the seeds of your transformation are germinating. What you still see as scars, God is already using as channels of blessing. Where you feel lack, God is creating abundance. Where you experienced rejection, God is establishing divine acceptance that no one can contest. Abandonment was just the antechamber of your manifestation. It was the necessary space God needed to begin operating miracles in your life. It was the silence that precedes the most powerful declaration of purpose over your existence. You don't realize it now, but one day, and that day is closer than you imagine, you'll look at this period of abandonment with gratitude. Not for the pain itself, but for what it produced in you. Not for the emptiness you felt, but for the fullness to come. Not for the doors that closed, but for the divine portals that opened. The abandonment you suffered triggered a healing process so profound that it transformed your identity. While you cried in the valley, God was already preparing your throne on the mountain. While you wondered why you were left behind, God was already positioning people who will recognize your true value. Understand, chosen one, that there's a divine mathematics at work. The greater the pain of abandonment, the greater the glory of restoration. The deeper the emptiness, the more complete the filling. The more intense the rejection, the more extraordinary the acceptance to come. It's as if the entire universe had conspired under God's orders to create this moment of transformation in your life. Abandonment was merely the preparation of the stage for the divine spectacle about to begin. You weren't abandoned to be destroyed. You were isolated to be transformed. This is the beginning of something so grand that when fully manifested in your life, you'll look back and say, it was necessary to pass through that valley to reach this mountain. It was necessary to feel that pain, to experience this joy. It was fundamental to live through that abandonment to discover my true purpose. Gratitude for abandonment will come, not for the wound itself, but for the much greater healing it enabled. Not for the fall, but for the much higher ascension it prepared. Not for the desert, but for the much more abundant promised land it preceded. Chosen one, what you interpreted as a devastating fall was, in reality, a divine planting. When you felt you were collapsing, being buried by the pain of abandonment, God was actually planting you in fertile soil, so deep roots of strength could develop in your being. The tears you shed weren't in vain. Each drop irrigated the seed of your purpose. Each night of solitude strengthened the roots of your resilience. Each moment of pain deepened your capacity to reach spiritual resources you didn't even know existed within you. Think of the most powerful trees, those that resist devastating storms. They aren't trees that grew protected, but those that faced strong winds from when they were small. The wind's resistance forced their roots to deepen, to expand, to seek support beyond the obvious. So it is with you now. Abandonment didn't destroy you. It challenged you to grow in directions you would never explore by choice. Pain didn't weaken you. It forced you to develop an inner strength that is now becoming your greatest weapon. When everything seemed destroyed, you were merely being prepared. When the silence of abandonment was deafening, your roots were silently expanding. When you felt invisible to the world, God was observing every inch of your inner growth. Realize, chosen one, that ordinary people are shaken by ordinary storms. But you were called for something extraordinary. So you needed to face extraordinary storms. The abandonment you faced wasn't an accident. It was a divine instrument to forge supernatural strength in you. Your roots now reach depths few can attain. Your resistance has expanded to dimensions few can comprehend. Your ability to persevere when everything indicates you should give up has become your trademark in God's eyes. Do you feel that uncommon strength within you? That capacity to continue even when everything seems impossible? This isn't just human resilience. These are divine roots that were developed during your season of abandonment. It's a supernatural strength born precisely when you felt weakest. You didn't fall. You were strategically positioned by God. You weren't destroyed. You were decomposed to be rebuilt into a much more powerful version. You weren't forgotten. You were isolated for exclusive preparation. The roots of strength that now sustain your life wouldn't have developed in a comfortable environment. The arid soil of abandonment, the hostile climate of rejection, the darkness of solitude were necessary for these roots to expand beyond the common, beyond the predictable, beyond what's humanly possible. And now, chosen one, these roots of strength are ready to support the weight of your manifestation. What once seemed to be your greatest weakness, the pain of abandonment, has transformed into the source of your greatest strength. What once seemed to be your end has revealed itself as the foundation of your new beginning. You didn't fall. You were planted, and what's about to sprout from you will leave the world amazed at God's transformative power. That rejection that tore your heart wasn't the end of your story. It was the birth of your true purpose. The moment you felt discarded was exactly when God began revealing your extraordinary value. Rejection was merely the womb that gestated your divine mission. When people rejected you, a divine selection was happening. They weren't discarding you. They were unconsciously creating space for your purpose to be born without interference. They didn't have the capacity to understand the greatness of the calling God placed on your life. Think of the great figures in history, the people who transformed the world. Almost all experienced severe rejection before their purpose was fully manifested. Rejection isn't the opposite of purpose. It's frequently the catalyst for it. It's not the enemy of your mission. It's often its cradle. The purpose now growing within you has deep roots in the pain you experienced. Your ability to identify with others' suffering, your sensitivity to perceive pain hidden behind forced smiles, your ability to see beyond appearances. All this was born in the fertile soil of rejection you faced. Do you notice how your vision is expanding? How your sensitivity is sharpening, how your intuition is more precise? This isn't coincidence. It's your purpose growing, strengthening, preparing for a manifestation that will surprise even you. The rejection you suffered created a vacuum in your life, and the nature of a vacuum is that it will always be filled. But God didn't allow just anything to occupy this space. He reserved this place for a purpose so extraordinary that it justifies all the pain you felt. Observe how you can now connect dots that previously seemed disconnected. How you can see patterns where others see only chaos. How you can extract meaning from experiences that for many would be merely trauma. This is your purpose growing, expanding, gaining strength. Rejection didn't diminish your value. It revealed who truly values you. It didn't reduce your possibilities. It concentrated your energy on what really matters. It didn't destroy your future. It eliminated distractions that would delay your manifestation. The purpose born from your rejection isn't fragile or hesitant. It's growing with a strength that will surprise first you, then those around you, and finally those who rejected you. It's growing with an authority that cannot be contested, with a clarity that cannot be confused, with a power that cannot be ignored. This is the moment to recognize that rejection didn't define you. It merely distinguished you from the common. It didn't mark you as insufficient. It separated you for an extraordinary calling. It didn't disqualify you. It re-qualified you for a higher mission. The purpose now growing in you with such power wouldn't have been born without the pain of rejection. The seed needed to be buried to sprout. The gold needed to pass through fire to reveal its true value. You needed to be rejected by men to be selected by God. Chosen one, a divine repositioning is happening right now in your life. God is moving you from the margins to the center, from the audience to the stage, from oblivion to recognition. Where before you experienced the pain of being invisible, now you'll be placed in a position so prominent that no one can ignore you. This isn't a simple movement in your life. It's a complete redefinition of your place in the world. God is altering the coordinates of your destiny, elevating you to a position that reflects your true value, not the mistaken evaluations others made about you. The oblivion you experienced was only temporary. It was like a strategic retreat before a decisive advance, like the tide that pulls back only to return with much more force. It was a preparation moment backstage before your triumphant entrance onto life's main stage. Notice the signs of this repositioning already happening. People who never noticed you begin to see your value. Opportunities that seemed inaccessible begin to appear naturally. Doors that were closed begin to open without you needing to force them. The honor coming upon your life isn't a simple change in status. It's a divine restoration. It's God returning to you, multiplied, everything that was stolen during your season of being forgotten. It's a celestial compensation for the moments when you were neglected, underestimated, and set aside. You're being elevated not just to be admired, but to be a beacon. Not just to receive honor, but to distribute it. Not just to enjoy recognition, but to use it as a platform for your divine mission. The honor coming upon you has a purpose much greater than simply repairing the wounds of your past. What seemed to be a curse, being forgotten, being set aside, was being used by God as a training field. While you felt abandoned, God was developing in you the qualities necessary to sustain the honor that now begins to manifest in your life. See how your perspective has changed. In the past, you begged for crumbs of attention. Now, you recognize your intrinsic value. Before, you accepted any place offered to you. Now you understand there's a specific place prepared exclusively for you in the divine plan. The honor coming upon you isn't fragile or temporary. It's not based on passing trends or inconstant opinions. It's an honor founded on your purpose, rooted in your mission, established by God Himself. It's an honor no one can contest because its source isn't human. Chosen one, being forgotten was your classroom, not your final destination. It's where you learned lessons that will be fundamental for managing the honor now being poured upon your life. It's where you develop the humility that will balance the recognition to come. The contrast will be impressive. Where before there were painful voids, now there will be abundant fulfillment. Where before there was embarrassing silence, now there will be audible celebration. Where before there was cruel oblivion, now there will be visible honor. And all will recognize that this could only be the work of a God who transforms mourning into dancing, ashes into beauty, and oblivion into honor. Chosen one, the pain that almost destroyed you now transforms into the strength propelling you forward. The same experiences that made you question your ability to continue are now the fuel feeding your unwavering determination. The abandonment that seemed to be your end has revealed itself as your true beginning. The pain of abandonment wasn't wasted in your life. Every fragment of it was collected by God and transformed into propelling energy. Every tear was converted into clarity of purpose. Every night of solitude was transformed into sharpened vision for your calling. You're rising now, but not as the same person who was knocked down. You rise with a defined mission, with a voice that can no longer be silenced, with a determination that doesn't waver in the face of new challenges. Abandonment didn't just mark you, it completely redefined you. This is divine alchemy in action, transforming the deepest pain into the highest purpose. What was poison in your life has been converted into medicine for many. What was a weight pulling you down is now the force projecting you upward. What was a visible scar is now a medal of honor. Your voice now carries an authority that couldn't have been acquired any other way. When you speak, they aren't just words. it's lived experience. It's not theory, it's proven crossing. It's not opinion, it's witnessed transformation, and the world desperately needs this authentic voice. Observe how people begin to be inexplicably attracted to you. It's not your appearance or status that attracts them. It's the authenticity forged in the fire of abandonment. It's the power of a person who faced their worst nightmare and emerged not just a survivor, but transformed. The mission now directing your life isn't superficial or temporary. It was born in the depths of your pain, was modeled in the emptiness of abandonment, was refined in the solitude of the darkest moments. Therefore, nothing can dissuade you from it. No criticism, no obstacle, no new rejection will have the power to divert you from the path you now see with such clarity. Your voice won't be negotiable. You'll speak even when everything and everyone suggests silence. You'll manifest even when fear suggests caution. You'll express truths even when convenience suggests omission, because you've learned in the most painful way that remaining silent was never the solution. The impulse now moving your life isn't a passing excitement or momentary enthusiasm. It's a constant and growing force, fed by the profound transformation that occurred in your being. It's a movement that began inside you and now overflows into all areas of your life. Chosen one, you will rise with a mission so clear that it will illuminate not just your path, but the path of many around you. You will rise with a voice so authentic that it will resonate not just in ears, but in the hearts of those who listen. And everyone will know, without a shadow of doubt, that what once hurt you is now the source of your power. The pain of abandonment was the price you paid to discover your true purpose. It was the necessary investment to develop your unique voice. It was the inescapable process to become not just a healed person, but an agent of healing. You didn't just survive abandonment, you transformed it into purpose. You didn't just overcome pain, you redirected it as impulse. You didn't just find your voice, you developed it until it became unmistakable. And now, as you rise with mission and voice, the whole world will witness how God can transform the greatest pain into a glorious purpose. Chosen one, we've reached the end of this divine revelation, but this is just the beginning of your new journey. The pain of abandonment that once almost destroyed you now transforms into the greatest catalyst for your purpose. Everything you lived through, every tear shed, every night of solitude, every moment of rejection was preparing you for this moment of powerful manifestation. God never allowed you to be destroyed because He knew exactly what He was building through your pain. The abandonment you suffered wasn't your destiny. It was your preparation. It wasn't your sentence, it was your training. It wasn't your end, it was your true beginning. From today, you'll walk with unshakable certainty. Your pain wasn't in vain. It was transformed into purpose, into mission, into a voice that can no longer be silenced. Where before there were painful voids, now there is fullness. Where before there was oblivion, now there is honor. Where before there was abandonment, now there is divine purpose. This message reached you because you were chosen for an extraordinary transformation. Don't keep this revelation just for yourself. Share this video. Allow other chosen ones to also discover that their pain can be transformed into purpose. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel to continue receiving these divine revelations that will transform your life. Always remember, abandonment may have been part of your story, but it's not your ending. Your true destiny is to rise with mission and voice, transforming your greatest pain into your most powerful purpose.